Nicole fired at Jar again, but it didn't faze the monster one bit. When Craven was at Jar's mouth, he was barely conscious, but realized Jar was dragging him through the grass. Just then, Calypso was driving nearby with her parents, and after seeing the tarot cards her grandma had given her, she suddenly felt like something was wrong around them. She got out of the car and walked a bit, then saw Jar holding Craven by the face. When Jar noticed Calypso, he put Craven down and walked away. But just then, a drop of blood from the jar fell onto Craven's wound. Calypso quickly rushed over to Craven, but he was in pretty bad shape. Seeing this, Calypso immediately gave Craven a special medicine she had with her. As soon as he took the medicine, the mix of the jar's blood and Craven's blood gave him an extraordinary power. Right then, Nicole and her team found Craven. A helicopter arrived quickly, and they took Craven to the hospital. But when the doctor saw him in the operating room, they realized Craven's condition was serious. Before they could do anything, the doctors gave up and Craven was about to die. But just then, he came back to life, and all his wounds healed on their own. Since Craven had recovered, Nicole took him home. When Craven got there, he saw his father. The lion, Char, had hunted and killed a deer, cut off its head, and hung it on the wall. At the same time, Nicole told her son, "I want you to stop studying here and stay with me to learn the business, because one day you'll have to take care of everything." But Craven didn't agree, since he didn't like his father's business, and he didn't like killing any innocent creatures either, so he decided to run away from home. That very night, Craven grabbed his bag and left the house. But before he left, his little brother Dimitri came up to him and said, "Don't leave me all alone like this." Craven replied, "I just want to be away from here, but our bond will always stay." After saying that, he set off. Craven then traveled a long way and ended up in an area surrounded by forest. Actually, his mom owned some land there, and for now, he planned to stay there. But on his way to the road, he suddenly saw some guys killing wild buffaloes and cutting off their horns. Seeing this, he couldn't control himself anymore. Suddenly, he got super angry from within and killed those two men. That was the first time he ever killed someone. After that, he went up to an old glass house on the mountain. When he was a kid, Craven and his brother used to come here with their mom. Craven started living in this jungle and began to discover his powers in a new way. Craven could run really fast. He could hear sounds from far away and clearly see things that were really distant. Over time, he tried to master all his abilities. As he kept improving, Craven grew bigger. He mostly liked being by himself here. But one day, he suddenly saw some hunters entering the jungle. They had come to hunt wild animals and sell them on the black market. So Craven went there and took them out one by one. Craven always lived in this jungle, but at the same time, he had a list where he had written down the names of all the hunters who he was involved in the business of killing and selling wild animals, and every now and then, he'd come out of the jungle to kill those people on the list. That's how his name spread all over the underworld. Everyone knew that if you hunted wild animals, someone would come after you too. Later, we see Calypso, who's grown up a lot now. The hunters had killed one of Calypso's girlfriends because she started talking about their smuggling operation. So, Calypso showed up at her girlfriend's funeral that day, and Craven was already waiting for him there. Actually, after many years, Calypso finally found Craven. She remembered that day in the African jungle when a girl saved her, but after that, she never saw Craven again. So, seeing Craven in front of her today after all these years really surprised Calypso. While they were talking separately, Craven told Calypso, "I know you work at the biggest law firm in the city, and because of that, you have access to the city's entire criminal list. I want to know the names and addresses of those criminals who kill animals and deal in their body parts." When Calypso was running the business, he asked, "Why should I help you?" Craven replied, "Because this way, you can get revenge for your girlfriend's murder." Actually, Calypso had heard of Craven before. There was a guy who accepted hunters. So Calypso agreed to help Craven. Then we see Alexi. Remember Alexi? That guy who showed up in the jungle when they were hunting, offering a business deal with Nicole? Yeah, that guy. But now Alexei isn't as weak as before. He's teamed up with a scientist. Right at the start of the story, we see this terrifying prison in Russia. It's the kind of place where they keep the most dangerous criminals in the world. In this prison, Russian soldiers bring in a terrorist named Kraven and lock him up. When Kraven is brought to his cell, there's already a prisoner inside. That prisoner tells Kraven he doesn't like having anyone else there, but Kraven just tells him not to worry. He won't be there for more than 3 days. Actually, Kraven was there looking for a prisoner named Simon. The next day, when the prisoners, after getting out, Kraven asks about Simon and finds out where he lives. Then Kraven goes to meet him. Simon was the most powerful gangster in that prison, so he even had his own office inside. When Simon sees Kraven, he tells him that if he wants to stay here, he has to follow the rules. But without thinking twice, Kraven kills Simon with the tooth of an animal right then and there. Actually, Simon used to hunt animals and sell their skins and valuable parts on the black market, but Kraven hated people who kill animals just for money. He absolutely hated it. Right after killing Simon, the prison guards found out what happened, but as soon as Kraven killed Simon, he started escaping from there. It turned out that Kraven had way more strength than an ordinary person. He broke through all the obstacles and got out of the prison like some wild animal. Anyway, he passed all the guards and security and got outside. There, a plane was already waiting for him. Without wasting any time, Kraven jumped on the plane and took off. After they ran away, the security guards found a body frozen in the ice. It was the prisoner whose identity Kraven had stolen to get into jail. Then we see what happened 12 years ago. Kraven and his younger brother Dmitri were going to a boarding school, but one day their dad showed up and told them to come home. On the way in the car, Kraven asked his dad what was going on, and his dad told him their mom was no longer alive. Also, Kraven's dad, Nikol, was actually a mafia godfather. From their conversation, it's clear that Nikol believed a wife is a weak person, and that's why she didn't live long. But Kraven says the real reason mom didn't live long is because you mentally tortured her, and she wasn't weak at all. Nicole's real business was arms supply and drug dealing, but alongside that, she really loved hunting wild animals. Nicole believed that to survive in this world, you have to be a hunter. Sitting in the car, Nicole tells his boys that sorrow makes people weak. So to help you forget the pain of your mother's death, I'm taking you hunting. I don't want my boys to grow up weak. After that, we see Nicole has moved to Africa with her sons. At the same time, a girl named Calypso is visiting Africa with her parents. She's come to visit her grandmother's house. Calypso's grandmother is actually a mystic who can tell the future through tarot card readings. While showing Calypso around, her grandmother gives her a small bottle and says the medicine inside isn't ordinary. It can heal any wound and even bring someone back to life in some cases. It's actually a very special kind of medicine. For a few hundred years, Calypso's nanny and her family have been preserving a medicine made from a mix of plants. Meanwhile, Kraven's dad sets out with his 2 sons to hunt a lion. Nicole tells her kids that the lion they're after isn't just any lion, it's called Jar, and no hunter has ever caught it. This lion has killed over 2,000 people so far. Nicole insists that no matter what, they won't leave without catching Jar. So, Nicole and the others head out to track the lion. Then a guy named Alexei showed up to meet Nicole. Alexei told Nicole, "I've been looking for a brave business partner like you for a long time." But after hearing Alexei, Nicole said, "You seem like a pretty weak person, and I don't make deals with weak people. So, you can leave now." Hearing this, Alexei felt really bad. Meanwhile, Kraven and Dmitri had wandered far away from their main group while searching for Jar, and just then, the fierce lion Jar appeared right in front of them. Kraven immediately told his little brother to stay back and aimed the gun straight at Jar's eyes. But Kraven had always been soft-hearted towards wild animals since he was a kid, so he never wanted to kill any creature without a good reason. Even in Jar's fierce eyes, he saw a kind of affection. So, he slowly lowered the gun and started to back away. Just then, Nicole showed up and shouted, shooting at Jar, but the bullets didn't faze him at all. Instead, Jar got even angrier and lunged at Kraven, biting him badly and seriously injuring him. Alex always carried a bag with him, and inside was a special kind of medicine that he constantly applied to his body. Whenever he removed this medicine, his body would transform into that of a rhinoceros. But he wasn't always a rhino, because this transformation caused him intense pain each time. One day, while Alex was at his place, one of his men came to him and said that lately, a guy named Craven has been killing hunters like them who deal with animals one by one. And apparently, your name might be on his list too. After hearing about Craven, Alexei says, "Then before Craven gets to us, we should go to him and take him out." Then Alexei calls over a guy named Foreigner. Foreigner wasn't just any ordinary person either. He had special powers. He could move from one place to another in the blink of an eye and could hypnotize people just by looking into their eyes. Meanwhile, we see Craven's younger brother, Dimitri. Actually, it was Dimitri's birthday today, so Craven was hiding in his room, waiting to surprise his little brother. He used to come visit his little brother pretty often, but he kept his distance from their dad. Today was Dimitri's birthday, so he threw a family party. Dimitri asked Craven to stay for the party in the evening, and maybe their dad would show up too. Craven loves his brother a lot, so he couldn't say no to Dimitri. When the party started, Nicole showed up to see her boys. Then Nicole told Craven, "We're a family and we should always stick together no matter what. So, you should come back home again." So Craven didn't agree with what his dad said. After that, they partied all night, and Dimitri went to the hotel to sleep. Craven used to sleep on the floor, so he couldn't fall asleep on the hotel's fancy bed. He stepped out of the hotel and went to the nearby park, where he fell asleep on the ground. When morning came and he returned to the hotel, he noticed his little brother was missing. Seeing everything, it was clear someone must have come and taken him. Craven quickly looked down from upstairs and saw some people forcefully dragging Dimitri away. So Craven didn't waste a second and started chasing the car to save his brother. But after going some distance, people were flying Dimitri away in a helicopter. Craven tried hard to stop the helicopter, but after falling into the water, he couldn't keep up anymore. Then Craven went straight to Calypso and asked for help. He told her, "No matter what, just give me the names of the people who did this." Calypso used her contacts to try to find out who was behind it. After that, Craven went to his father's house. Nicole might already know about this because the people who kidnapped Dimitri called her demanding $20 million. Craven said, "$20 million is nothing to you, so get my brother back as soon as possible." But Nicole replied, "It's not that simple. I don't care about the money, but if I give them the cash, they'll see me as weak, and I don't want to look weak in front of anyone." Hearing this, Craven got even angrier and stormed out of the house. Meanwhile, Calypso is trying to find out who these people are through his men. He figured out who did it, called Craven, gave him their names, and told him where they were holding him. Then Craven showed up, took out all the thugs one by one, and asked where my brother was. Their leader said they only kidnapped your brother, but didn't bring him here. They said your brother's with Rhino. Actually, everyone called Alex Rhino. While Craven was talking to them, one of Rhino's men fired a rocket launcher at them from a distance. Turns out Rhino was behind the whole thing. The whole thing was a trap to kill Craven. His brother got kidnapped for that. But here's the question. No one knew who Craven really was. So, how did Rhino find out? We'll find out soon. During Rhino's attack, Craven falls from a great height, but survives. Meanwhile, some of Rhino's guys show up at Calypso's office because they found out Calypso is involved with Craven. But Calypso had already spotted them, so she grabs her stuff and runs straight to Craven. Meanwhile, Rhino and Foreigner get wind of this. Craven is still alive, so this time they decide to come into his territory and take him down. Foreigner had made a special kind of medicine to kill Craven. When Craven realizes Rhino and the other hunters have entered his area, he rushes to fight them. But this time, they're all prepared. From a distance, Foreigner throws a dart coated with that poisonous medicine at Craven. The poison starts to weaken him. Then Foreigner moves in, hypnotizes Craven, and begins attacking him. Eventually, Foreigner shoots Craven to finish him off. Just as he was leaving, Calypso showed up and shot an arrow straight into the Foreigner's eye. The Foreigner died right there, but the poison badly affected Craven. He was close to dying. Then Calypso pulled out that special medicine her grandmother had given her and gave it to Kraven. After a while, Kraven fully recovered and started looking for Rhino because his brother Dimitri was with Rhino. Meanwhile, Rhino was heading back with his team after hearing Kraven had died, when suddenly they spotted a huge herd of wild buffalo charging towards them. A huge herd of buffaloes was charging in, so many that they were about to smash Rhino's vehicles. Realizing this, Rhino quickly ripped off the pipe attached to his body. Right before their eyes, his whole body started turning into a real rhino. By then, Cravino had shown up, and a fight broke out between the two. But Rhino was stronger than Cravino in this fight because his size and thick skin were protecting him. As Cravino kept attacking, he noticed that even though Rhino's whole body was tough, there was one hole in it through which he could. Medicine was being injected, and Kraven took advantage of the situation by slipping a rod through Rhino's wound, which weakened him. Without wasting any time, Kraven immediately threw Rhino into the herd of buffaloes. Thousands of buffaloes ran over Rhino's body, and that's when Rhino started to lose consciousness. As he was taking his last breath, Kraven came up to him and asked, "What would you do if you knew my real identity?" Rhino replied, "Ask your father that." And then he died. After that, Kraven took Dimitri home and met up with his father. Nicole came to confess when she saw Kraven. As she approached him, Kraven said, "I've killed a lot of hunters, but none of them knew who I really was. Because anyone who found out my identity never lived to save others. But Rhino found out who I was."
How?
"And I know only you could have done something like that. So my question is, why did you do it?" Nicole replied, "Rhino was slowly taking over our territory, and my fear in the underworld started to fade. Rhino is really powerful, so I could never kill him. That's why I gave you the address because I trusted you'd win the fight between the two of you. And if you want to hit me for that, go ahead. But I've always wanted you to be strong like me. Together, we could build an empire so powerful that no rival could stand against us." But after hearing Nicole, Kraven got up, and as he was leaving, he said, "I'm willing to agree to your deal, but you have to prove you're strong." Just then, a huge bear showed up. Seeing the bear, Nicole he grabs his gun, but when he tries to shoot, there's no bullet inside. Then we see Kraven dropping 2 bullets from his hand, meaning even though he didn't kill his own father, he basically handed him over to the very people his father had accepted all these years. The next year, on Dimitri's birthday, Kraven comes to see him, but when he arrives, he finds out that Dimitri is now running his father's business. In other words, he's become just like his dad. But when Kraven tells him to stop, Dimitri changes right before his eyes and takes on Kraven's appearance. Seeing this, Kraven was actually shocked when Dimitri found out that his brother was Kraven the Hunter. That's when he started feeling weak. So he helped Rhino and, through that scientist, changed himself using chameleon DNA. Dimitri then tells Kraven that before their dad died, he left something for him. When Kraven gets home, he sees that Nicole made a jacket for him using strands of her hair. Kraven puts on the jacket, maybe wanting to see himself in a new light. And that's where the story ends. This is actually from DC Comics. How do you all feel about superhero movies? If you want more explanations like this, just let us know in the comments.